Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Meditation, Judaism, and Self-Mastery. Here we go. Okay, we're going to start sharing the screen. And what are we going to share with it? Let's take a look. Oops, let's get rid of that. Let's go back again. Hold on. Share screen again. That looks like it could be it. There we go. Okay, let's first take a look at our new website. There's a features that I want you to know about. Okay, so what I need to do is go here. We're going to share screen with sorry about that. Hold on. Okay, back to you. One more shot at this. Worked. Okay. Sorry for the delay. A few things here. First of all, class notes. The class notes, the notes I use are, there's a separate page per month, and you can see them here. They're exact same notes that I use. We save them and post them. It's going to be listed by the month, so you can take a look at that. You can get URLs off of there. The same ones I use are available to you. The recorded classes are also on here. It goes right to the YouTube channel. You'll be able to find them there. All the classes are uploaded by 12 noon the next day. Let's take a look at what else we got here. We have recommended reading list. The books that I use and other ones as well are listed here. Here are the R.E.A. Kaplan books that I've been using. Here are some of the other books that I've been quoting, in addition to new ones that I think you'd be interested in that explain some of the ideas and principles we've been discussing. You'll find that on the website. Here are links on the website. Blue Dragon instructor, founder and chief instructor Shifu Alice. The website to the martial arts school is there. And there are websites to other teachers, so to speak, remote teachers that I have, Rebbeim, sages, and modern authors who are experts in personal growth and self-mastery. There are links to all their websites here, so you'll find that. And as far as the blog, that's in progress. I'm posting different divrei Torah and essays, some of which I've written, some of which other scholars have, and you will find them as great background information elaborating again on a lot of the ideas and concepts we discussed. So we're making this a rich resource for our dedicated students to really get an understanding of how meditation and self-mastery fits into Judaism. Okay, we're going to switch now. We're going to go back to sharing the notes. Okay, back to where we started. We're going to talk about the importance of standing still, and I'm going to review what Rabbi Kaplan has told us. And you're going to find that it's essential to meditation, to prayer, to health, and also to combat, interestingly enough. So when Rabbi Kaplan says it's important to stand still, there's a lot to that. Okay. Again, what he says is, with the exception of bowing, it is preferable to remain absolutely motionless during the Amidah. Some people have the habit of shaking and swaying during this prayer, but the codes of Jewish law regard this more as a nervous habit than as a means of improving one's concentration. Again, emphasis on improving one's concentration. Keep that in mind. Both the Kabbalists and many major codifiers state explicitly that all motion should be avoided in the Amidah. If you find it impossible to remain absolutely still, you may sway very slightly, but excessive shaking or swaying tends to impair concentration in a meditative sense. Emphasis on concentration. Bear that in mind. Okay. Now, coincidentally, in the parsha from last week, Vayechi, we got some more insights on this word for standing still, Ayin Mem Daled. Let's take a look at that. Okay, what's happening here is this. So a story about Jacob Avinu, our father Jacob. He lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. And the days of Jacob, the years of his life, were 147 years. And the days of Israel's death drew near. And he called his son Joseph and said to him, if I have, after all, found grace in your eyes, please, I pray of you, place your hand under my thigh, which was a way in those days of making solemn oaths, and deal with love and truth with me. Bury me not, I pray you, in Egypt. And the language is, V'yasita imadi chesed ve'emet, and make imadi, same shurish as we're talking about for standing, chesed ve'emet, kindness and truth, love and truth. Okay. Why would that word be used? Okay. So this is what Shimshon Raphael Hirsch says. Lay your hand beneath me. Again, that ritual for making a solemn oath. Let me rest on you, depend on you. Promise me that you will use the influence of your power so that I can confidently lay myself down to die. Okay. He's saying, so Jacob is talking to his son Joseph, partially because Joseph is his son, and he's giving his son some final instructions for his final arrangements, but he's also speaking to Joseph as an executive in Egypt because he needs to get permission from this authority to do those arrangements, which require him leaving Egypt and so on. Okay, and what he's basically saying in the use of that word is, let me depend on you. Okay, so he's asking his son / the chief executive to stand in readiness. Be ready to help me, please. So the standing implies a certain state of mind, a certain be ready to do this. It's not a passive, even though the body is still, the mentality is very active. That's important to note. Okay. We also have the Malbim speak about this. What does Malbim say on the same word, in the same passage? He says this. To Joseph, he said, deal graciously with me. And to his son, he said, and truthfully. So the Malbim's talking about Jacob is talking to his son and also this executive in Egypt. Joseph was duty bound to honor the promise out of respect for his father. Although taking the oath was itself an act of grace, it was associated to truth. Okay, since thereafter he would be under obligation to effect its realization. So the Malbim's pointing out that with the use of this word, Joseph is being charged with a mission. And again, stand ready to act. If somebody charges you with a mission, you can't just be idle. You have to be ready. So once again, in the Torah, we see that this word that is the basis of the Amidah is talking about standing, but standing in readiness. Okay. Okay. As I mentioned last week and the week before, we can get insights on this whole idea of standing in readiness from other sources, which employ standing for a very specific purpose, including enhancing concentration and getting your body ready. And one of those sources is Zhan XHuang. Zhan XHuang is a standing meditation. And I actually talked to Sifu, my Sifu, about this. He's practiced this, which I found out. And interestingly, Bagua Kung Fu, which I train in, employs this. I didn't know that until I understood what Zhan XHuang was. And we said, oh, we have this. Okay. So this is from Wiki. Let's take a little background on this. It's a training method often practiced by students of Neijai, but how you say internal Kung Fu. Internal meaning using your qi and your internal power, and various forms, including Baguazhan. That's mine. Okay, this is from Wiki. So it has various nicknames that imply standing. It's a form of Qigong, which is kind of like Tai Chi. Okay. The Taoist philosophers used it to increase health, as we'll see later. So they automatically understood that standing still has a health benefit. They, the original Taoists, and then after the original Taoists, more recently, martial artists who had already employed static standing methods, like there was standing yoga, that's kind of like this, to create a superior exercise. Zhan XHuang in martial arts has always been to develop a martially capable body structure. Okay, now just as an added point, I told you a month or two ago that in one of the levels in my martial arts training, you need to do what's called standing stances as opposed to moving stances. You need to hold these for a long period of time, move to this stance and this stance and this stance. And it's a huge mental thing to get your body there. But that standing, assuming this position, and you have to hold 13 positions for 30 seconds each, which is a big deal. Is that 26 positions for 30 seconds each. Sorry about that. You go forward and back. That's a big deal, but it makes you capable. It gives you the structure you need to execute combat moves. Okay. And Zhan XHuang has a strong connection with traditional Chinese medicine. Some schools use the practice as a way of removing blockages of qi flow, meaning that we have an idea of qi, only we call it nefesh, meaning that there's this healing element, there's life-giving element of qi. It's in your blood. And that's why when an acupuncturist or an acupressurist or even a deep massager will create pressure on a point in your body, what they're doing is they're forcing blood to rush to the point of the wound, and the blood contains qi, or what we would call nefesh, and that's what heals you. Okay, they understood this. Okay, and so obviously, if you have tension somewhere, muscular tension or some other tension, then the blood's not going to be able to flow. There's a kink in the hose, and the chi in the blood's not going to be able to go and heal that part of the body that needs healing. So one of the major goals of this practice, this healing practice, is to remove points of tension or kinks in the hose. Okay. And then your body regains its natural ability to function optimally. Okay. So again, I'm making these points. You could start to understand that if you're going to put yourself in a state of readiness, meaning, and you're in prayer and you're saying, God, let's work on gathering the exiles. Let's work on Parnassa. Let's work on healing. Let's work on everything we got to work on in this world. You've got to be ready. Your body has to be ready to move, to do the stuff. So it's all kind of connected. Okay. And very importantly, the Dantian, which what the Japanese called hara, is activated because that's where the chi enters you. Okay. It actually enters a little below there, and it's distributed through that point. That Dantian, or what the Japanese call hara, is that you start at your belly button, and it's about a fist length below that. Okay. Talk about the martial purposes. The martial practice is thought to strengthen the body's central nervous system and develop the coordination required for effective martial performance. What you do is you connect your mind and your body. Okay, that is great for your central nervous system. That empowers your central nervous system. And you can see that this is what you need if you are going to act, either in a combat situation, or if you're going to make phone calls, or if you're going to perform any mitzvah. That mind-body connection is critical if you're going to fully invest yourself in it. You want to do it with your mind elsewhere. So the practitioners of this standing meditation used it for mind-body development for combat reasons. But if you're ready for combat, you're ready to do anything else, whether it's visiting the sick or anything that's required to usher in the kind of world we're trying to create with Hashem that we talk about every day, 3 times a day in the Amidah. That world's going to come true, and we're going to have a hand in this. Our body has to be working optimally. That's the point here. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to go in depth with this Zhan XHuang here and learn more about it so you get these insights become a little bit clearer. So I'm going to, what are we going to do here? Let's see. Do this. I'll do this. We'll do this. Now, what will we do? What we're going to do is, hold on, we're going to go to Safari. Okay, let's see if this works. There we go. Let's just see this for a second. There we go. If you can't see this, yell. Okay, it's a guide to Zhan XHuang. Okay. Zhan XHuang is a simple but powerful exercise to enhance energy, mental clarity, and internal strength. It's an excellent standing meditation for improving your productivity and bringing more aliveness to everything you do. And by the way, when we say the Shema, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your resources, how are we supposed to do that? This is a technique for doing that. This is a technique for employing all of you here. It takes work to do that, and you got to work at the right thing. Okay. Okay. This guy is a believer. He's changed everything in his life by doing this. Okay. and eliminated frequent neck and back pain, and physical energy and alertness continued to rise. Okay. Based on Taoism, okay. They have Qigong, which is very popular. It's kind of like Tai Chi. Right, there he goes. Sister of Qigong is Tai Chi. My martial arts, Bagua Zhan, employs Qigong. Qi translates it's air or breath, but okay, but it's used to represent vital energy, and that's why the healers want to channel Qi to parts of your body that are hurt, because it contains the life force that's needed for healing. Okay. And by the way, Qi is very feelable. You experience Qi all the time, but if you haven't done any kind of moves like this, you wouldn't recognize that it is. One way of doing it is if you put your hands together like this, and you hold your hands steady and maybe 2 or 3 inches apart, you feel like they're almost like repelling each other like magnets. You don't try to do it, but if you just hold them together, you'll feel it's almost like there's something you're holding onto a ball or something. That's the Qi, and it's the Qi from each hand working on each other. And there are very profound feelings like that that you can get when you train. Okay. Okay. The ancient art of standing like a tree. Okay. You stand still in an upright posture as if standing like a tree. The tree metaphor is apt as your legs and torso form the trunk of the tree. Your head and limbs form the branches. And your feet sinking and extending down beneath the ground establish the roots. Okay. Let's get to it a little bit more. They talk about all the meridians. And by the way, so these are the meridians you will see if you go to an acupuncturist office. It talks about channels through which energy flows or Qi flows. And I think I mentioned that the Ramban, Nachmanides, talks about how King Solomon, either himself knew or he had a body of advisors that knew the meridians of the earth. And this planet has meridians, and he knew, therefore, what the meridian was, where it was to plant leeks, because he knew that there was a special meridian for special produce, special growth. And the idea is that this is where the ancients got this idea. They're thinking that the body is connected to the earth, and therefore the meridians of the earth somehow go through us. Okay. Qi flows through the body's energetic pathways, and there's a whole map of them. Talks about how our lifestyle, especially in front of the computer, basically creates kinks. You're out of alignment, and that loses vital energy, meaning that you're like this, and you see a lot of guys, they're always pouring over the Gomorrah kind of thing, and they end up like this, and they are not allowing energy to go from their hips up into their brain, and they're losing out. Okay. Got a big belly, you're forcing too much strain on your back, and you're pressing your vertebrae together, and that's impeding the energy. Okay. Center point of the navel, okay. Okay, now, very important thing. The deciding factor in a standing meditation is your ability to relax. Okay, so automatically this precludes certain movements we do when we daven. And the shuckling and this, you are not relaxed. You may be enjoying yourself and you may be in tune with the shliach who's singing a good tune, but that's not the same thing as we're talking about. If we're talking about getting our mind and our body ready and attentive to do what Hashem wants us to do, relaxation is key, because if we're not relaxed, then there's going to be tense points, and when we're going to not have the energy that we need to perform. Okay, relaxation is key. And for relaxation, you need to have proper body structure. So this relates to a question a student asked this week, which is, what happens if I'm standing and I'm meditating and I readjust myself so that I get more comfortable throughout the meditation? My point is that's not really meditation. My point is that you need to do all the fidgeting initially to get yourself comfortable and stay that way. Because if you keep moving, you're not moving, you're not relaxing. You're trying to get relaxed. You need to be relaxed to meditate, because you need to leave your body alone and just relax your mind. If you're constantly fidgeting and changing position, even though it's like gross body movements, you're still not relaxed. And you got to relax to get the benefits. Plus, if you have, when you're meditating and you have a focal point, let's say the focal point is the breath going in and out of your nostrils, you can't say, oh, well, now my focal point is my body. You can't have two focal points. Focal point is a focal point. And you can't say, well, now my focal point's my hips because I'm adjusting them, or now my focal point is my shoulders. Not the same thing. You can't keep changing focal points because you're losing concentration. And as Rabbi Kaplan says, you gotta have your concentration in order to be attentive and give Hashem your full attention. So you need to be still and you need to be relaxed. And that's why we said last week, if you're going to, that's seated meditation is the best way to develop that skill, because you have less to worry about for your body, because half of it's just immobile, you're sitting. And you just have to make sure the top half of the body is properly structured and relaxed. Now, obviously, people that are doing this standing meditation have already mastered that. And they know how to be aligned and relaxed sitting. So now they're taking it to the next level by doing it standing. If you can't do it sitting, don't try to do it standing. And I'm just mentioning that that's a point to get to, because in the Amidah, we need to be standing. We're not going to say it's sitting unless there's, extraordinary circumstances. And some people do it, whatever, they're sick, whatever the situation is. But you're supposed to do it standing. And if you're going to do it standing, your body has to be aligned and relaxed so that you're not worried about your body as you're trying to concentrate on your tefillot. So you see how it all fits together. And I will add one other point. And this is where I understood how Bagua has Zhan XHuang. We have a moving meditation where we actually walk around a circle. And when Sifu told me that, I'm like, you're right, hold him. But what we do is we hold the top half of our body still, and the bottom half is walking. And actually in that wiki article that I didn't go that far, but it mentions that Bagua employs circle walking, and the circle walking employs Zhan XHuang. They have it right. But that's another step, okay? And I'm not saying we do the Amidah that way, but I'm showing you how once you master the various basic levels, then you can employ it in unconventional ways. Like we're talking about standing meditation here, but Bagua is using a standing meditation and incorporating it into a moving meditation. Okay, so it gets complex. So you can see how it could go. And then if you can master along the same lines, if you can master a standing meditation when you're saying the Amidah, then you can employ those skills and that state of mind and that readiness and that concentration in whatever mitzvah you're doing. Just imagine if people did that. Just imagine if people visited the sick and were hospitable to guests and learned and taught and everything with the same body-mind connection and concentration that they employ in their davening. Boy, okay. Okay. It's challenging to balance a vertical cylinder on 2 legs than it is to balance horizontal. Very good. Okay. So stages of standing. Let's see if we can get something out of this. All right, so you can see the guy's leaning forward. You can see his knees are over his, or more over his toes. Not good. He's leaning forward too much and he's bending too much. That's not the position we want. Okay. And then eventually, you can see that the knees are brought in a bit, body is straight, and there's a line going from, this is where his dantian is. There's a line going from just where his belly button is, up through his spine to his head. This fellow is aligned properly. So his chi is going up. And the point of him envisioning his feet as roots of a tree is that he's pushing down with his feet, and that is creating an effect where the energy is coming up through his body into his head. He's actually, in a sense, channeling the chi from the earth that we talked about. The earth has meridians, the body has meridians. There's kind of a connection between the meridians of his body and the meridians of the ground he's standing on. Okay. Okay. So if we are structured correctly, then we're neutralizing the effect of gravity. If we're bent over too much, gravity's got to pull us down and we got to fight it. If we're leaning back, same thing, it's pulling us back. If we're straight, then we're just in between. It kind of leaves us alone. Okay. And the improper structure is draining our energy because we have to fight to keep our position. And if we have to fight to keep our position, then we're taking energy away from the concentration of what we're doing. You know, we can't be worried about, you know, Hashem, I'm trying to keep up with you here, but you know, it's hard for me to stand a little bit. If you have a proper structure, then you won't get distracted. You hold your body in a relaxed, extended, and open position. Your mind will be empty, active, and alert. Okay. Okay, his instructions are: 1, stand with feet pointed straight ahead, parallel to each other, and firmly on the ground at shoulder width. Shoulder width. Not together and not spread out. Grasp the ground with your feet while keeping them elastic with the tip of the toe slightly extended. Okay, some people actually curl their feet like this, as if they're going to pick something up with their feet. Okay. Except upward from the crown of your head into the sky. When we have meditation with Sifu, he says, sit as if your head is holding up the sky. You want your head to feel like it's floating above your neck, effortlessly suspended above your spine. Allow your hips to slightly sink down as if you were sitting at the edge of a bar stool. That's not a squat, and it's not like, you know, you're just like standing and then a little bit so that the bar stool is just a couple of inches below your backside type of thing. This will straighten the spine in your lower back. Most people have a natural S-curve. And one of the primary aims of the standing posture is to reduce the curvature of the spine as much as possible to open the flow of energy. So if you find yourself butt sticking out and back curved, then you are out of alignment. One thing that will help that, keep your knees slightly bent. Your knees should never be locked and should never go beyond your toes, slightly bent. If you bend your knees slightly, then you're going to be inclined to lower your hips and straighten your back. Okay. Relax your shoulders so that you don't hunch. Let your arms rest comfortably at your sides. There's all these different postures. This is simple. Let the palms of your hands face towards your hips, inward, not out. You don't, that's their natural position. Tuck your chin inward, not up. So this way you avoid bending your head. Keep your eyes slightly open with a soft gaze. So this is not a closed eye meditation. You could, but as somebody asked a week or so ago, the question was, well, you know, I'm concerned that, you know, I go deep in my meditation, and if I close my eyes, I'm concerned about losing my balance. If you are concerned about losing your balance, you're not structured. You could do this with your eyes closed. But the point is, you want to retain your alertness, because this is a training exercise for alertness. You want to train your mind for a state of readiness. You're not going to do a mitzvah or anything with your eyes closed. So you need to train your body to enter the state of readiness, and then and keep yourself alert. And that's why you keep your eyes open, but not like, just open, soft gaze. And you place your tongue gently on your palate. The tongue naturally goes there. You just got to keep it there. Okay, that's what it looks like. Now everybody asks, how do you breathe? You breathe comfortably, slowly, and quietly through your nose. You don't force the breath, and you relax. Okay. Trying to stand is not going to work. Okay, so with this brings home the point of, if you can do this for a minute, you do it for a minute. You don't force yourself to do it 5 minutes, with the last 4 minutes being a fight. And one of the experts says, in the study of the method of standing, the most important thing is to avoid exerting ourselves either mentally or physically. If we use physical strength or energy or chi, we'll be congested and blocked. When our chi is blocked, our attention or yi is stopped. Right. When our attention is blocked, our spirit, they have a whole mind-body thing going on here. But the point is, if you have to try too hard to do this, you're going to get distracted. Now, here's a very key tip here. You assume the position, you're ready to start meditating. You do a double check. You try to check the tires, so to speak. You start at the top of the head and scan your body downward. Notice any tension in your forehead, jaw, and so on. When you locate an area of tension, breathe into that area and allow the tension to dissolve and sink downward. All right, obviously, if you have tension in your forehead, you're not going to literally breathe on your forehead, but mentally, like you let out a breath to relax, you're letting out a breath in your forehead to relax. And this is something you can do when you're not practicing meditation, when you're just sitting down in front of a computer, or when you're davening, whenever it is, when you're eating, that's what you do. You just mentally exhale in the point of tension. If the tension doesn't release after breathing into it several times, move on to the next area, then go back to it. Okay. You can practice in front of a mirror. How long to practice standing meditation? 40 minutes per day is a big deal. Okay. That's a very big deal. You got to practice 1 to 2 minutes at a time. Do it throughout the day. I do this when I got websites loading and stuff. You practice meditation in various forms. You catch a little bit here, catch a little bit there. Now they're talking about different sensations people feel: numbness, aching, warmth, shaking, asymmetry, relaxation. Okay, but you're trying to make this pain-free, so my feeling is you got to adjust yourself to minimize these, because these are all signs that you're kind of like not ready for it. So you got to coax yourself into a position of readiness. But if you feel some tingling, pulsating warmth, that's a sign that the blood is flowing, and it's a very good feeling, and the energy is flowing. So that's what you want to, that's when you want to shoot for. Okay. Now these guys are talking about trembling and shaking. These guys are using it as a real exercise here. Okay. You have to, like with any exercise, you have to decide how much you want to do. Shaking uncontrollably for minutes at a time, that's very rigorous. So I don't do it that far. You know, I'm in decent shape, but you got to watch how far you push here. Okay. And they say when you've completed your session, slowly rock your feet back and forth and side to side. You tap around your body to release any stagnant energy. That's not a bad thing to do. Tapping up and down, because it does, if there's any little blockages, it pops them, it pushes them to release. Okay. What are the benefits? So, your heart rate barely changes, your respiration improves, your blood circulation becomes more regular, you become energized even after a brief session. This is for sure. So these are the details of what should be happening in your body when you're reporting for duty, when you're standing at attention, when you're negotiating with a Shem or appealing to a Shem or petitioning to a Shem or conversing with a Shem. This is what should be happening in your body. It should be a good experience, and your body should be behind it so that you can say, I'm ready. Let's move on with this. Whatever needs to be done, God, let's do it. This is a sign that your body's ready to do this. Okay, then they got a whole lot of stuff here. We're going to put this website on our website, and there's a really good video he filmed the guy doing this, and the guy doing this goes through the details. He does it very well. Let me just see if I can tell you this. All right, well, you go through this. It's in there. There's a link to a very good video. You will find it if you go through this. Okay. Okay. We're going to stop the sharing, and we're going to stop the recording.